for our doing your business your way. So far, we've been pretty consistent on what we've been discussing, which is obviously the infrastructure of your business and the accountability. So, Kristen, go ahead and put the slides up, please, because we're going to really dive in right now with 2 feet forward, man. Deep in the trench. Can you swap that to where it takes over the whole thing?
Yep. It's supposed to, there it goes.
There we go. All right. Key things that we need to chat this week, guys. You know, we talked about accountability last time, and we're going to go right back into that, right? What are you doing to keep yourself accountable? How are your accountability partners working, which is number 3? And how are you managing your time? So let's start right off the bat with, you know, what are you guys doing to hold yourselves accountable? And let's just go down the line, because we need to hear it. We need to figure out how to best, stay on course. So I see Sean being on the first on my list. Sean, what are you doing to hold yourself accountable?
Well, scheduling every week out and trying to stick to a calendar of events every day that I'm keeping track of. And then Kay and I are calling each other every Thursday at 2:30 to kind of check in with each other and see what we've gotten done for the week. And we've actually set some goals, and she gave me a really great tip last week about, setting an alarm clock and saying, I'm going to do this for 2 hours and don't focus on anything else. Because that's, I'll see a shiny light over here, or I'll be going through Facebook and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. And then boom, I'm off on a tangent. So I've learned to just write it down and then go back to that later after my alarm's gone off. So
I love it. That is so cool. Kay, how's it working for you?
It's good. It's good. And same thing. I've been writing down my weekly, my schedules, what I want to do, and then I have it divided out by when I'm going to be handling those tasks and stuff, and just talking with Sean on a weekly basis has helped too, because it's kind of like going into the confessional. It's like, all right, I haven't done what I was supposed to, so let me say I know Mary and let's go on. So it's actually worked out really good, and and we do share a lot of ideas and stuff, which I think is helpful to kind of get through the next week, and and then set our goals of what we want to focus on so that we can follow up with each other the next week.
That's excellent. And I'm telling you, the more consistent you become, it becomes habitual, right? You don't have to, think about it. It just automatically becomes that muscle memory. That's working on your business and not just always working in your business, guys. That's looking at it from a 30,000 foot view and being consistent with it to continue to grow that, right? So, Carol, you're next on that besides Lynn there and Sarah, but let's talk with you, Carol.
Jamie and I met one time for about an hour. She wanted to work, and I was very thankful for her help on my website. So we got that all set up. I changed the pictures. I've got all of my what do you call those things? Where people say nice things about you, and I put all those on there. So that's all done. Jamie and I haven't met again because she was so busy, because Mona was on vacation and she's working at Park and she's really tied up. So she was supposed to give me a call when she was about ready to get in to start for where I could do some things to help her. So other than that, personally, I've tried to be in my office every morning at 8 o'clock, working on my business and working in my business. And it's been a pretty successful week, and I've had some weird things happen so far this year. So I just sold my second house sight unseen, and this one was a coming soon house. So I've been really working on talking to people and making sure that people are confident that I know what I'm talking about, and being very secure in myself and knowing what I'm talking about and guiding people. But when my client called me when I was at a birthday party Sunday and said, hey, I want to write on this house and it's coming soon, I was like, I texted her back and she said, what do you think of that? I said, I think it's crazy, but if that's what you want to do, let's go for it. And we'd lost a couple of houses, and she finally got you can't, I don't try to push people, Jose, because I think that's the wrong thing to do in this market, because it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. So I try to let them get burned a couple of times if they have to, when they won't listen to what I'm telling them they're going to have to do. And then you just kind of ease them into doing that thing that's probably nutty. And if we don't get it, I tell them, hey, I'm glad we didn't get it, because I think that, any higher, we'd have been way overpaying, and that would have been crazy and hurt you in the future. So I don't know, it's working. It's just working. And I did get a listing too, so that'll be coming on, but things are changing a little bit. It's hard. It's hard this year though, very hard.
No, that's excellent stuff. Either way, Carol, the good thing is the consistency that you're putting in, being in the office at 8 a.m., making sure that's your regular, I would say your regular schedule 9 to 5, if you will, but you're making it happen. And like you said, right, there's going to be things that are going to be out of your control and you're going to have to roll with them. But at the end of the day, you still have to account yourself for anything that you were supposed to do for that day or week. So,
right.
And it's accountability, right? And that's
really
our
right.
focus.
Really, right now, Jose, it's been from about 8 a.m. till about 10:30 p.m. at nighttime. Let me tell you, with everything that's going on, and I'm sure everybody else is the same way. It's not. Years like this could make you become an alcoholic. I'll tell you the truth, or an also one or the other. Kay, are you
one of these?
raising your hand?
It's a good excuse, though.
Yeah, it works.
That's awesome. What about you, Steve? How's your accountability coming?
Well, good. I got Brent kicking my butt on that, calling me all the time and bugging me all the time. No, good. Got to get the database going, and myself, I'm just calling people and staying in contact with kind of the SOIs, kind of going through the list. But we got to main thing is get the database going, and that newsletter. I know Brent and I talked about that. I guess that was Monday.
Yeah.
And we'll get that all squared away and just go from there.
Mm-hmm. And on your CRM or your database, what's your deadline? When are you trying to get that accomplished? Because you're going into second quarter, and that's when everything starts really picking up in general. How are you going to keep yourself consistent on that one, Big Steve?
I'm trying to. Well, my deadline is next week, but I've been running rampant with the new buyer that's running at an investor that every day he wants to go out and look at something, and he's on my butt and this, look at this and all that. So, but no, I got to set time and do that and get it done.
Okay, no, that's definitely important. Again, working in your business is obviously important, but also working on your business and making sure your processes and procedures or your systems are going to be in place.
Absolutely.
Somebody's ringing. Is that
Hello?
me? Oh, Molly.
Hi, John. Oh, hi, Mary.
Sorry, guys. Mary, Kristen, can you have her?
Better.
There.
I muted her.
Thanks. But that's the whole emphasis, Steve. Let's just hopefully next week be that deadline so we can hopefully hear Monday that's already wrapped up for you, man.
Yep.
Right? Joe, what about you, man?
I do a weekly schedule for myself. So I write it out every Sunday for the next week, trying to make sure that I don't get in my own way, which is what I was doing before. Brent's been calling me once a week, very consistent, asking me what's going on and how he can help and what I need to do and what's new. Just recently, I contacted some old clients from 2019 that I was working with way back when. And believe it or not, one of them actually said, hey, let's go out and maybe go look at something in a few weeks.
Nice.
So that worked out really well. And the client that I've been working with, who has possibly 3 transactions for me, she just texted me last night, said that her daughter's going to be getting divorced and I may have a 4th transaction because I have a house.
Yeah.
So sad for that, but I guess good for me. Other than that, Kylie and I have not spoken. We have texted back and forth a few times, but I know Kylie wasn't feeling well, so she was out for a little bit. So just haven't done that just yet. I still need to get all of my contacts uploaded into Booge. I was kind of waiting until I completed the list, and I'm just about there. So trying to add some more because Lynn challenged me to add more to it. So
I love it.
So I added some more to it, and now I think I'm ready to pretty much push it up into Booge and get
When
things
you went live,
automated.
Joe, you went live on your video last week. I mean, you've been posting, but you went live on your home hacks, which is the beginning of all that for your weekly branding.
Yeah,
Good.
I
That was-
branded myself, and
Yeah.
I am I'm using Hustle to do the videos with. So I shoot the video once a week, and then I'm pushing it into Hustle, and then I'm editing it basically in Hustle and adding a few things here and there. And so my very
Looks
first
good. It looks
intro
good, too.
video, I pushed that out last week.
And it's really looking good, guys. If you guys start just messing around with that kind of stuff, it's really easy to use. It's very user friendly, but it's great information to keep pushing out there to your clients or your social media outlets. Neil, how's everything going with you, my man?
Pretty good, pretty good. The best thing I can do for my accountability, of course, is when my phone rings and I look down and it's Brent. I answer that phone, and we always have a good conversation. So that keeps me on point a little bit. Mary Dean Johnson and I have been meeting really for the last year, every Tuesday, or trying to do every Tuesday. I'm kind of holding her more accountable than she's holding me, just because I have a little bit more marketing background and I'm trying to get her on track with some stuff. But it does keep me focused a little bit on my own marketing as well. So, and then I'm trying hard to stick to my weekly and daily task schedules. One thing I spoke with Brent about yesterday was instead of just having a knockout list, putting time limits on each task that I have, so that I give myself a deadline, so to speak, on these things, rather than just having it being open-ended. I'm finding that putting a deadline on it makes me work a little bit more focused on it to get it done. So that's what I'm doing.
Good, man. No, that's awesome. And who was your accountability partner? I mean, I'd love for Mary Dean to join us also. Maybe you can add that to your accountability list, right? To have her part of this, because that'll also, with the idea, the suggestions we throw collectively here, she'll gain a lot out of it, man. So
I know I have talked to her about that. Yeah, you're right.
awesome. No, I appreciate it. No, keep moving forward. Hey, Kylie, how about you?
I was doing a better job of planning out my weeks ahead of time, and then actually keeping track of it in Booge under each client specifically, like in little notes, and taking advantage of my first closing and being able to put that into the system based off the lesson we had with Kristen in Booge, and keeping track of that and being able to separate those. So I was doing that. I was sick 2 weeks ago, and then we had the closing, so I didn't really get to get with Joe, but we're going to start. I think we had like Monday morning set up to meet, so we'll get that going as well.
Yeah. And I highly, for Joe and Kylie, I highly recommend you guys really trying to start that communication and keep it consistent, because again, you got somebody who has a great marketing background, and you also have Joe that has been doing business or understands the handyman service, his brand of, Joe's Homes. I mean, that pops, and that, a lot of it could be, working collectively for newsletters and so on and so forth. But you guys have a lot of mutual understanding for what each other, can bring to the table, which is awesome. But I highly suggest making sure you guys get on that. Everett's on, right? Everett, what's up, Everett?
Morning.
Good morning, my man. Tell us, where are you with your accountability, and your how are you holding yourself accountable, and how are you and your accountability partner coming along?
Well, we've reviewed putting our contacts into Booge, and I don't see her on here today. But that's about and then I've been out of town a week. I just got back yesterday, so I'm still kind of catching up on things after being out of town.
Mm-hmm. Have you done anything? Oh, go ahead.
I was just say, Jose, Kristen ever had to go out of town, but Kristen's actually she's on jury duty, so that's why she told me she wasn't going to be able to make it, because she's doing that.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Anything since you started, and make sure you put a structure in place? Have you modified? Have you adjusted anything since you've been taking the or you know, since we've been having these meetings?
Quite frankly, I've had two transactions that I've been working on that I've been chasing my tail over, and I haven't really implemented anything new other than trying to keep together the two transactions that I've had that have been falling apart and then closing another one. So I've been pretty busy. But aside from putting together the contact list and trying to get that together, nothing else.
And Everett, I would suggest also, and you're making a perfect example of what agents in most cases we do. We get caught in the moment of having a, you know, in this case, Everett says he's got these two files that he's been going crazy with or going in circles with. We get caught up in that, right? And when we do get caught up in that, we don't really start focusing on the whole component of doing, you know, working on your business because you're stuck working in your business, right? And that's the cycle of our real estate business in essence, right? You get caught, oh man, I got all these deals, or I got these two deals, and before you know it, those two deals come and go, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't do anything to keep continuing to move my business with other clients or advertising or marketing or you know, information or whatever, or touching base with my CRM. I will always state this, right? And honestly, we can sit here and look at it as a, I guess you can call it a trick question, right? But you know how we say, and Carol brought this up earlier, sometimes it's from 9 and all the way up to 10:30 at night, okay? But we'll use that theory. You know, our business is very busy, it's very crazy, and you can be working at all sorts of times. And then we can use now the theory that, or what Everett brought. Oh, listen, man, I got two deals and I've been working myself, you know, in and out of those deals like crazy. I haven't really implemented anything new, or I haven't done anything in the future. What does that say to us? We're extremely busy. Okay, let's identify what extremely busy is. I think honestly, that's what we really need to identify mentally, right? And as a business owner, truly what is busy work and what is someone being busy, right? Brent says that all the time. Well, you know, in some cases, people are busy being busy, right? And there's no identifier of really, am I being effective on what I'm doing? Or am I literally, you know, just kind of as Everett's example, you know, I'm working these deals going in circles, but really, if you identify the issue and resolve the issue, that should allow you to keep moving on to the next of your projects, right, or your business. Same with, you know, working from 9 to 10:30. There's going to be some times there where there is some downtime, right? Banks close at 5. You deal with agents and issues after that, but we're not constantly, literally, with the phone in our ear from that time to, you know, 10:30. It's identifying truly what is the effectiveness of that scenario and balancing it out to say, look, I know I got issues to deal with. I'm going to deal with issues as they come. But the objective is to deal with issues and almost identify them, resolve, or at least intend to, and then keep moving forward to the next object, right? Or the next objective. I would highly suggest being that one thing that we're learning. Hey, Diana, welcome. You know, I would highly suggest individually, as you guys, with your accountability partners, is truly identify what is that workflow and how do we structure that workflow so that we don't get caught up in the vicious cycle of what this industry is. I know I'm sitting here, I'm saying, look, we know that we want to be busy. We know that we want to be engaged in handling issues, especially if they're contract issues, because why? Means we have stuff under contract, right? That's the bread and butter of our business. Getting things under contract, getting them to the table, successfully executing a close, and making sure we stay on top of the past clientele. So as we sit there and we say that, we need to identify how do we do that without interfering the day-to-day operation and then the oversight of your future business, right, that comes. And I think it's a perfect example on how we can systematically do things, you know, and have systems in place, as what Brent's going to be discussing here in a minute in these drafts, these letters, because there's a lot of things you can systematically put in play, right? So, you know, two things we need to make sure. Accountability needs to be consistent. We got to continue to stay on top of our direction on our business, right? You still got to step away and take the sales your sales consultant or real estate agent hat off, and then you got to put your CEO hat back on, and then you got to sit back, and then you got to say, okay, so my objective this week for this business is I need to take care of this, this, and this, and this. Here's the times on how I'm going to handle it. Now, I know I'm going to be throwing curveballs, but let's address those. Let's time those out some shape or form. Curveballs are going to come, right? So let's just make sure, how do we address them? How do we timely address them? Because there's going to be parts of your day you're going to be dealing with that kind of stuff. I mean, who here in this business already, from new to old, has not dealt with an issue? Right? I'm sure all you guys are going to raise your hands.
I have.
Yeah. Kristen, go through the letters. Brent, jump on these letters, man. Because I think
Okay,
these are systems that you can put in place and they can be automatic for you.
So one of the things that we were talking about on the business growth, I think it was last week.
Mhm.
So we were talking about Jared James at R4, and he was really giving us nuggets of information of things that you could more or less take and shake and see what falls out in a given area, given neighborhood, given farm area. So one of the things that we talked about last week, and we didn't get to the scripts of like what happens once you do this, but one of the letters it was a neighborhood letter, and this was a buyer who was looking in a certain neighborhood. So I'll just go through this real quick. It's the neighbor, and we were talking about this type of letter would go to the Every Door Direct mail. And I think some of you have used that Every Door Direct mail. But this is a different way to use it. A lot of people are using it for postcards and that type of thing. This is a letter that hits your area of wherever you're interested. One of the things we talked about last week was if you have a certain area, a farm area, you can go into the MLS and send a notification for anything or any time that something is going to be listed or gets listed in that neighborhood. And that kicks you into sending out the 2 or 3 letters that we talked about on business growth. But the one I was going to talk about today is, and I think we touched on this last week, this letter goes out to the neighborhood in your farm area. It says, I'm not sure we've ever met before, but I'm a local realtor in such and such town. I was just showing houses in your neighborhood. And the date and time, whenever I was showing give the address. First name of buyers. Some of the houses that are currently for sale in your area. As I'm sure that you are not surprised, they loved this neighborhood. But unfortunately, I have shown them everything that is on the market and still have not been able to find them the perfect match for what they're looking for. The real reason that I'm writing you, though, is because I take my job of finding my clients their dream home very seriously, and I am committed to finding them the perfect home, whether it's currently on the market or not. I'm asking that if you are even considering selling or happen to know someone else in your area that is, please contact me at your earliest convenience so I can possibly play the role of matchmaker. So you give the first name of the family. They're looking for a house, and it's a vague description. You know, it might be 4-bedroom, 3 baths, whatever, maybe a certain size, maybe ranch, 2-story, whatever. There's currently not an overwhelming number of properties available that meet this criteria. But like I mentioned, that is why I'm writing you. I'm committed to getting my clients what they want, even if that means thinking outside the box. If you're not even considering moving, then I apologize for adding this already endless amount of junk mail you must receive. Please forgive me, enjoy your beautiful home. But if you're thinking of selling or you know of a neighbor that is, please feel free to call me, the number, your email, send me a message on my Facebook address. Thanks so much for your time and hearing from me. So the other thing that he said when he was on stage is he said, I do this as, you know, the Every Door Direct mail, but he said, I also stand in front of that place that I like, that neighborhood that I'm interested in, and I say that on my Facebook, on my Instagram. You know, here I am at, you know, Claymont, whatever. And, you know, my buyers love this neighborhood. If anybody in this neighborhood knows if you're interested or know somebody that's interested, I'd love to talk to you. And so what he's doing is he's shaking out the people in that neighborhood that he knows he likes, and this is something, I just hit that by accident. But this is something that will also give your buyers like giving you a high five that you're going over and beyond trying to find them the place that they're trying to be. And that can never be a bad thing, right? I mean, there's really nothing bad that can come out of that your buyers are seeing you're going the extra mile. And that can also get you more referrals and everything else. So the thing that we didn't go over last week is what happens if one of these people call you. Okay, so it says person reaches out to you. You have to call within 5 minutes if possible if you didn't answer the phone. So they're thinking about their homes guy and form that they just filled out. Statistics show that there are 100 times more likely to have a conversation and convert someone into a client when reaching out to them within the first 5 minutes. You know, obviously that's true. I mean, whenever we let a lead get old, it gets old, and they might just lose that impulse that they made or whatever happened. And then you've got to, when you make that call later the next day or whatever, you're going to have to warm them back up. You want to hit them when they're hot. So it says, it says, if the potential seller doesn't pick up when you call, don't ever leave a message on the first attempt to call them. Instead, and this is something I've noticed I do, if somebody calls me at a number I don't know and I don't answer it, and they call me right back, all of a sudden I do think, oh, this must be important. I don't know why. It just tricks my mind to think, uh-oh, well, maybe I do know this, and I'm not responding because this must be important. So Jared actually says, use this as a system. Hang up and call them right back on a second call. He said your chances of that happening, of them picking up, goes up quite a bit because you're calling right back. The person thinks that maybe they don't understand, maybe this is an emergency, maybe this is important. Okay, so the person, if they don't pick up on the second call, then leave a message. Say the following: hi, this is Brent Cassidy. And he says, don't mention your company or that you are a realtor. Just say, hi, this is Brent. I just got your request to get the value of your home. I want to get it over to you ASAP. I just need one more thing to make that happen. And you can reach me in the next 30 minutes. He gives the next 30 minutes because that gives the urgency of that, you know, everything's convinced into short time and you're busy. I look forward to hearing back from you. Thanks. Just note, the one thing that you need is to actually see their home so you can give them an accurate assessment. The reason that you're giving the 30-minute deadline is because it applies scarcity to the conversation and makes your time seem valuable since you aren't just waiting around all day waiting for the phone call. Brings the control back to you. If the potential seller does pick up, hi, this is Brent. Yes, who is this? Hi, this is Brent. I'm getting back to you about the form you just filled out requesting to get the value of your home, which I'm going to go back to because that doesn't relate to this particular letter. There's another letter that talks about somebody's home came up that was for sale and that could have changed the value of your home. If you guys remember, we went over that last week. That letter was back to the notification that I said you get an MLS and then you send out the Everydoor direct mail. You're sending that out saying, hey, so, Kay's house went up for sale for $685,000, and this could have changed the value of your home. If you're interested to know the value of your home, then that's what you're doing. You're getting back to them in this lead. Let's see, this is, I can certainly take care of that for you. Real quick though, are you near your computer or phone or whatever you keep your calendar on? Yes, I keep my calendar right here on my phone. Why do I need to be near my calendar? No, by asking them a question and getting them to think it and get near where their calendar is, you're doing two things. First, you're changing their pattern for what they expect, which throws them off a little. Second, you're putting them to work, which gives you control over the conversation. That is a hack. If you get somebody to do something with you, you know, it's like if you're giving a speech and you say, you know, before we even get started, I got a question that we're going to go back to at the end of my speech. Write this down. And you ask them a question. You've got them engaged in your speech now. Same way with this pattern. get those people engaged, doing something with you so that they're with you on this process that they and you have become engaged at. The more you can get them engaged, that they're working with you, the more it'll help you get to where you want to go. So the main thing is that you're not just wanting to mail them out an evaluation. You're trying to work your way into getting to see their home, to be able to talk to them, to be able to have a discussion with them. And if you can do that, then a lot of good things can happen. So this process, this script, this letter, which isn't actually a letter I just went through, but both of them are both shaking things out. They're about going into a place that you want, you know that the inventory is tight, and you're going to shake the bag and see what falls out. Whatever falls out, you attack it and you have a system to it. Going back to what Jose said, as long as you know what your system is, then you're just working your system and nothing's a surprise to you. Does that make sense? Kind of the thing I liked about Jared James is that he basically said, you can parachute me into any place in the United States, and within 3 months, I'm going to be in your wheelhouse because this is my system. You're going to see me all over the place because this is what I do. This is how I operate. And my system works 24/7. And so when it works 24/7, that means that the people that don't have the system, it's not. And one of the things I think that, you know, Jose, what you were getting back to about being busy to be busy, you know, if you get busy, if you get so busy, you're too busy to get anything done, then you have to break down what are the money-making activities that I'm supposed to be doing. If you break down everything in your day and you break it into 2 columns, these are my money-making activities, and these are just the things that I get sidelined with. They're not bad, you know, they're not, I mean, even working on your website can be a money-making activity. It's just you have to figure out exactly that day, what are the money-making activities I'm going to do today? And if I get sidetracked, these are the things I know I get sidetracked on. The reason why I say it's important to put that down, it's important to know what your distractions are. It's important to know and be honest with yourself. These are the things I get distracted with. So when I put these things in 2 columns, money-making activities, my distractions. And so when you drift off into the distraction column, you know you're in your ditch that can pull you back into the money-making activities. You always have to play a trick with your own mind and play your own game, and that will help. Know what your distractions are, write them down. Know what your money-making activities are and write them down so that when you're in a given day and you feel yourself drifting, look at that sheet and say, uh-oh. And what did Sean say earlier? The Chinese lights or whatever, the notifications pop up. All those things happen. All of us do it. It's just how long do you do it? How long do you stay distracted to be able to get back into your money-making activities?
And let's do this also, Brent. Kristen, go back to the big screen so we can see each other, or that I can see. I'm sorry, but let's think about what he just mentioned, right? It's how do you even, and we said it earlier, how do you even identify what true busy work is, or true getting things accomplished, or getting wrapped into that circle, right? Wouldn't you want to have a system that operates for you guys 24/7? That's maybe somewhat automated, but somewhat you already know what to do and go forward. It's so easy for us, honestly. It's easy for me to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to convince myself to focus and put in, you know, a full 4, 5, 6 straight hours of nothing but work, and I'm going to accomplish it. But you know what, it's also easy? It's saying, I'll get to it, I'll get to it later today, or I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. Why? Because we don't have another person on top of us, in essence, saying, hey, you know, I'm going to hold you accountable to your position in your job, right? So the crazy thing is, it's easy for us to say no. It's easy for us to change our own minds. But when you guys worked for corporate America and they demanded the work for their, you know, for your pay, as you will, you made sure to stay busy, right? You had to get work done. You had to do all that stuff. Same here. We're asking you guys, hey, listen, think about that CEO. Put that hat on. Make sure your systems are in place so that way your business is going to function 24/7, whether it be through social media, systems already to set them up so that you're not spending so much time having to do it every single day. Maybe you spend one day and you set it up for a whole week. What about contracts? check-ins on your contracts, right? If you have files that are going and they're pending closing, do you structure that time according through your week on when you're going to touch those files to make sure you stay updated? Is that in your schedules, right? Is your phone calls? What about your phone calls? All those things that require you to be a real estate agent need to be addressed in your work schedule through the week. So you have it, as Sean said, he tries to plan a week in advance. So you have those things already planned out. And I can highly assure you that once you become that type of agent that's going to have a system, right? You guys are going to be doing the business your way, the way you're comfortable, the way you're confident. Ideally, what we're doing is giving you all the tools and understanding. Now, once you structure it, it's basically, I don't want to say a cookie cutter, but it is a system that you have that it's going to become more monotonous, easier, fluid, and it's going to be kind of like muscle memory, right? It's going to be out of sight, out of mind almost. You're just doing it because that's what you embedded yourself to do. These letters are basically something that you could utilize as a system.
Perfect.
Who here would prefer to have a systematic approach that makes your job as a business owner and as a real estate professional easier, more flexible? Sean's like, hey man, right here, look at you guys. Yeah,
Both hands.
absolutely. Because our job is to get to that point of hopefully getting to a point that we all understand that you guys are a business and your business needs to be held accountable by its owner. And that structure needs to be in place, from having your database, from having your phone calls, from scheduling close. I mean, everything in your contract, you should have it broken down so that you know every day you're going to get up and this is what I got to do for Monday. You're going to get up again. This is what I got to do for Tuesday. Yes, Carol, you got your hand up.
I do. So one thing that I've really been working on, and I've always been nice to the agent on the other side, even sometimes to the point of where I had to bite my tongue almost and have to just, not retaliate and be nasty back. But I've found in the past week in this difficult market that it's become very helpful to have a personal relationship with them and not just a business relationship with them. Find out what they're doing, what their background is, just kind of, shoot the garbage with them take 5 minutes out of your day to take that time on that phone call. And it's paid off. It really has paid off.
That's a great suggestion. Why? Because you're developing relationships with fellow colleagues that inevitably will have houses that your buyers are going to want to end up seeing in the future. And as what Carol just mentioned, trust me, when they know, and put it to you guys in this perspective, if you guys have these listings and then all of a sudden you have an agent on your side submits an offer and you know that agent a little bit of a better formal relationship than just, someone's putting a contract in, you almost kind of favor it naturally because you know that other person. Am I wrong or am I right?
You're right, because they actually end up working for you. So because they want to be nice back, and I'm not saying it works 100% of the time, it doesn't, but it's sure worth the effort.
Guys, here's a great idea. And I think Carol just literally concreted it in my head. I was thinking about bringing this up, but I'm like, let me think about it. Let me see how this can pan out. But here's an easy and most efficient way, right, to set in your business system or your plan is maybe sending a nice, kind email to agents in your grid that you normally want to work in and introduce yourselves. Introduce yourselves as who you are. If it's family, I have a family, I have this. Explain to them who you are, right? Why would you want to do that? Well, one, I always want them to remember who I am, especially in this market. There's not that many listings. There's inventory, guys. We brought that from convention. There is inventory, and you can drive by inventory every second and see it, or on the street and see inventory. What we're short are listings. So when those agents end up knowing who you are, you'll develop a little bit of a better relationship with them because they know who you are ahead of time. Take advantage of this stuff. Carol brought up a great point. Hey, how about sending a cool little email in a restricted database for you, set it up, right? And, that our agents that you either worked with in the past or you haven't had the opportunity to work with, but guess what? They work in your area or your grid. You just want to make sure you introduce yourself. What about setting up a drip campaign just to keep your face in front of other agents?
Jose, write a
Yes.
thank you note every time you finish a deal with somebody, saying how nice it was to work with them and how they did everything so wonderfully. And, you know, you start getting those notes back, and then you can put those onto your website also as working with other agents.
Absolutely. Guys, this is great stuff. This is great stuff. You know, this is information that's very useful and you can easily implement it and dump into your business system. It's not going to take, it'll take time setting up as anything does, but once you set it up, it's literally a click of a button and you can have that information in an email drip campaign, right? To reach out to these agents, or maybe just like Carol said, why don't you just send them a thank you card? How about every year at the end of the year, when you send out your greeting cards, your holiday cards, how about you send out appreciation cards to all the agents you worked with in that year?
That is a good idea.
Thanksgiving, we could do it.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, we focus a lot on our clients, but how about we focus a little also on our colleagues when they do accept your offer and everything's going to go, you know, whether it be good, better, and different, because we're going to have challenges, but still send them, hey, we appreciate you guys. We really appreciate you selecting my business when it comes to representing a transaction. I just want to say thank you and happy holidays, or just thank you. And it could be at any time, every month. I don't care, right? It doesn't matter. But how about doing that?
Jose, that's a really big nugget to use right now because of the market the way it is. You get multiple offers and they see K, I like K. You know, that does play into the whole scenario of how that deal works. When what gets picked and who they want to work with and all those things that go into somebody, because everybody's human and that's just part of the game.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, you're going to be much more comfortable doing a deal, especially if you know who's on the other side, because if you've done a deal in the past or you're well aware of who they are and they're very respected in that area, you're going to want to hopefully cater to that deal because you know you're going to get it to the table. Because guess what? Our whole job is to get them to the closing table with very minimal issues and mainly focus on it being a stress-free transaction. That's how people remember you guys. Oh, it's Sean. Sean, yeah. Oh, but you know what about Sean, man? When I sold my house, I thought it was going to be a nightmare. And Sean handled everything. That's why we focus on being who we need to be in a transaction, because we want to be able to be remembered as that agent or that representative, that business owner that made it a frictionless transaction. That's how people remember us. Guess what? If I sit here and tell you, hey, you know, we all been in restaurants, right? But if you have your favorite restaurant and you find that person, you know, that serves, you know, on you guys, and you think it's excellent service, you're more likely to come back and hopefully probably ask for that same individual. I've done it, especially in one of some of my favorite restaurants. You know, oh, where's Caesar? Where is he going to be working? What day? Because the service becomes much more to me of an experience than just me giving my money. Does that make sense? I mean, Neil, I'm sure you can attest to this. This is your baby right here, man. We're talking about your industry, or your past industry, I should say. You do favor that. This is the same in industry that we're in. We're in the service-based industry where we want our clients to remember us for how good and how well of a job we've done. And we're also in an industry where we're having to deal with other competing agencies out there to do our job, right? Just like any other business. But the creative and the positive thing about us is we can, at least in a competitive market, stay in touch with those agents that do work in that grid so that they can remember you, right? Because guess what? I've gotten referrals literally in the past, and Kylie can attest to this. I've gotten referrals from two Hispanic real estate professionals in our market that just don't understand how to do business in the investor market. And because of who they are, who they know, all of me, because they know of me. So it's out there, guys. People might even know, oh man, Carol, that's Carol's great. I don't mind just giving this client to Carol, even though maybe we're not in the same industry or agency, but I'm going to give it to Carol because this is her specialty. Right? Questions on that? Have you guys had the opportunity to meet Sarah Umstead from the Wildwood office? I know she just jumped on. Sarah, so this is your first, I think this is your first one joining us, right, Sarah?
Actually, I watched a recording, so
Excellent.
I have
That's cool.
seen the first one, which I actually need accountability for. So if anyone doesn't have a partner, I'm in need of one.
Sarah, we're gonna find you one, and trust me, that's what we love. We love the eagerness to have an accountability partner, but we will definitely find you one here. Kristen, please reach out, find an accountability partner, but if not, let's put Brent on it because I'd love to have Brent with her too as well. Okay.
Brent just suggested Steve.
Oh, there you go.
Are you trying to get me away?
Steve Hall, Sarah.
Boy, you are in trouble.
That'll be great. Great suggestion, Brent. And this would be great for both of them. Again, Sarah, do you want to tell them a little bit about who you are? So that way they understand, maybe your past history as far as your work, your profession, and now,
Sure.
she just started rather in the real estate industry. She's very eager, very excited. She was an actual, I'll start you in here. I'll log you in. She was a buyer for Rob Frisella, right? You guys acquired a property or sold a property, I don't recall. But this is how she's probably saw Rob's work and said, I want to do what he does. If Rob was listening, he'd be like, oh, quiet. That's not what happened. But anyway, Sarah, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I started in January, I guess. I finished up, and I'm a mom of 3. I actually have a listing that it's my own listing. I've got a house that's going up on the market today. So everyone look out for that. In Eureka, yep. In the Legends, in the Palisades. It's going to be listed for $505. And so I'm really excited about that. That's kind of why you haven't seen much of me in the last week, because I've actually been trying to get my house ready and trying to be on top of everything. So I'm a little MIA this last week, but yeah, I'm excited to get started and to do as much as possible, learn as much as possible. Lynn's been super nice helping me. I was here for a couple hours yesterday. So ready to rock. I don't like to move slow. I'm a fast mover. So I feel like I'm not doing enough unless I'm going really fast. So
that's excellent, Sarah. Welcome to the family. We really do appreciate it. I'm glad you're starting with our Doing Business Your Way campaign. There's also other sessions that we've done, Sarah. I would say Steve and you, just kind of touch base so that way you're not missing the past conversations we had also, Sarah. But that way you can kind of play catch up, do a little Netflix binger, but with our videos. Yeah. All right.
Hey, Jose, I can vouch for Sarah too on the fact that she started the Momentum program. She's very, she's committed, and I'm excited that she's a part of this because I think she'll get a lot just being around and soaking up the information. But she's hit the ground running.
Oh, that's awesome. No, we love it. And I think that'd be great for Steve, because now, Steve, you got somebody now that's going to hold you to it, my friend.
That's right.
He's got a deadline for next week on his CRM information. So I'd love to see how that comes out. All right, guys.
Pizza.
Yeah. Any questions? All right. Here's the homework. All right. Homework. Action items. Okay. For Everett. Let's get back on the track. I would love for you to really start isolating those 2 transactions and hopefully straightening them out in a matter that you can at least, break it down in a couple of days. So that way you have time to work on your business. Okay.
That's all right. I'm coming to visit Lynn in about an hour.
I love it. I love it. Lynn's gonna be honest. She can take it.
I
She
didn't
knows
know
how
I
to
was
do
getting company today.
it.
Well, fair warning, I'm coming.
Okay, I'll be here.
Excellent.
Lindsay's out here.
That's awesome. Hey, so I'm gonna go down the line. Kylie, continue working on your booze. I'd like to see some automated stuff now coming out to help you, right, through Mac Center or PhotoFly, whatever they call that. But I think it's all connected through Booge to start seeing some actual assigned brand marketing ahead of time. Okay.
Okay.
And that you can also work also with Joe. That'll be both of you guys, Joe. Let's start seeing now some planned staged marketing presence. So that way you guys both can start working on your business, like making phone calls, call emails to database member, on your database. And let's make sure that's also for everyone on this call. Let's make sure your database is identified, right? From priority to, all the way down to just prospects, they're going to probably sell or buy in the next 2 years, whatever. But let's start looking at that as well. Neil, for you, especially for you and Mary Dean, I'd like you to also have, and what you brought up was a great scenario, because Brent calls you on Mondays, but really continue that path, because I don't want you to only just be the person holding someone else accountable, right? You also need to start transitioning your business in a structural component. So maybe, reaching into with Brent and talking about how to maximize, right, your building, your referrals in your buildings where you live, that area, that corridor. And let's start maybe looking at reaching out to those agents, which I tell everybody here, guys, reach out to those agents in your grid, introduce yourselves, make a plan and try to get that in, sooner than our next meeting, so we can at least discuss how that went. You might get a call, you might get a phone call or a text or an email back saying, thank you. Pleasure, either doing business with you or pleasure to meet you. That's all we're asking for. That goes for everybody. Diane, you came in a little late on the meeting, but I'd like you to start setting up your implementation on your business model, at least having an idea of what your database looks like. And if you need assistance with your database, call. Yeah, you need to update it. You need to call Kristen or Molly and anyone of that nature to help you. Carol, for you, obviously you're rocking. I love the fact that you're being consistent with your work schedule now, but I would also advise the same thing. Maybe start looking at how to implement your business with being busy, right? And making sure it's not going to carry you to where you're, all over the place on a schedule where you're working from 8 to 10 o'clock at night or whatever. I'd like to see where you can cut some of that to make it more of a time. Hey, I'm working on issues between this time and this time today. After that, if another fire comes up, obviously I'll address, but for the most part, I need to focus on working on that 30,000 foot view on my business, right? And so Joe and Kylie, same thing for you guys. I talked about that. Sarah, your job with Steve, obviously, and Steve, your job with Sarah is to get her caught up with everything that we've addressed so far in our meetings, because they're all recorded. Kristen can hand them over to you guys. All right. Did I miss anybody?
No, I was going to ask about the recordings of meetings, because I don't know how to get to them, or how do I get them?
Kristen or Molly or any of the staff can send them to you. Not a problem.
Okay, good.
All right. And then Brent, obviously for him, he wants to make sure he will call you guys every Monday, and that way everybody gives him the status quo. But I'd love to start seeing some addressment of our action steps, right? I love that. The next time we meet, you guys have said, hey, I've implemented this. Like Carol mentioned earlier, I've implemented it and it seems to be working. It's good, right? I want that nugget, right? I want something to pop that says, hey, I did this part, and so far I see a difference. Or even if I did this and guess what, it's not for my business, fine, let's hear that too, right? Again, this is doing business your way. We want to make sure your confidence and your ability to perform is at 100%. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions, or am I putting you guys to sleep?
No. I got a coming soon listing.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
It's in Dogtown. So what I've done is I'm doing a coming soon because I don't want anyone going in the house on St. Patrick's Day. So what we're doing is kind of holding it off but I'm putting signs out, you know, coming soon, and my signs in front of the house, and kind of getting, you know, to where I can, you know, get some control in that. But I don't like the keys and lock boxes on St. Patrick's Day there, because people take advantage of that. So
Yeah.
I've learned over 33 years of them. When we had the lock boxes, people would use them.
Okay.
So
Hey, I might tell everybody, we didn't get all the way through the scripts, but I think everybody, if I remember, they have the Jared J scripts. If you don't have the Jared James scripts, we'll send it out. But I think most everybody has them. But anybody has any questions about them, there's also a listing script in there too. So we didn't get through the buyer script and the seller scripts all the way there, but we had a really good discussion. So we can always keep rolling with that.
What we'll do, guys, is we'll put those all, you know, in one link, or if we can do that, Kristen, maybe download them, make it a save, and then send it to them, you know, via email, all of them. That way, each of you guys on this call have them at your disposal. All right, Kristen, is that cool?
Yeah, I sent them out with everybody that was on Brent's call last week, so I'm gonna resend them out today to everybody on the call.
Awesome, cool. All right, so you got that's the deal, guys. Listen, we appreciate you guys being on the call. I hope you guys gathered something out of it today. I know Steve gathered a cool accountability partner, so he's excited. Watch out for this one there, all right, Sarah? He's a handful. All right,
Can
guys.
handle it.
Hey,
One more thing.
Jared James is good. Kristen, go ahead.
So next Wednesday, Jared James is gonna be doing a training, a class. And it is talking about like team building and just building the agents that you work with also. But Brent thought it would be a great thing for you to get on, even if you're not building your team. It just really talks about setting goals for yourself and for your year as well. So I'm going to be sending out that link today also, because you guys can do that via Zoom, sign up. And Brent will not have his class next week because he would like as many people as possible on that class.
I'll be Jared James.
Oh, there you go.
There it is.
Hey, let's try to get an email out and try to invite as many people as we can, because that'd be awesome. That'd be
Yeah,
a great,
I'm gonna get it out. It'll be on
discussion.
our Facebook page and everything too.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll catch up on the next one.